Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Cosmo Build-A-Figure Waves Nebula. Now I did get this figure at Toys R Us Canada. I paid around $36.99, and I gotta say I'm quite impressed with this figure. Even though she is using the same body as the Mantis, I think it works better here with the Nebula, as she kind of does have a costume like this, just in a different color throughout most of the movies. And I do think this figure, especially amongst all the other figures in these costume designs, works very well on her own, as she does have, like I mentioned, a similar costume design in the other movies, just with not the blue, kind of just the colors reversed, if anything. That being said, I do have a decent amount to say on this figure, so without further ado, let's get into the review for the brand new Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Nebula. Now, as always, I do want to start off with the packaging for this figure. She's in the standard Marvel Legends plastic-free packaging design. On the front, we have a rendered image of the figure. Behind that, we have a concept art image of the character. Up top, Marvel's Nebula. Down below, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 logo. So excited to get to see the movie in a few days here. Hasbro logo, plastic-free packaging, along with the Don't Choke warning. On this side, we have the concept art image of Nebula as well, along with the brand new Guardian ship. It's her and the ship amongst the cosmos. I love the stars that we have in the back of all of these boxes. Marvel Legends logo down below. On the back, we have another rendered image of the figure, along with the Guardians logo in the cosmos, along with all of her many accessories, which, shockingly, that's not a lot, but she is the figure that is included with the most accessories. Guess that's just Hasbro in 2023. And also here we have the Build-A-Figure piece that she's included with, being one of the legs for the Cosmo. Bunch of legalese down below. On this side, we have the Cosmo Build-A-Figure himself, along with all the other figures you need to build him. I do have reviews for the Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis out now. All the other ones here, along with the Groot and the Cosmo, will be coming out very shortly. Guardians logo up top, Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Cosmo, but other than that, not much more to go over with the packaging, so let's get into the Nebula figure herself. Here we have Nebula along with all of her accessories, being a small gun, a large gun, as well as her sword hand, or whatever you want to call it. In this movie, she has like a nanotech arm, which I'm very interested to see what that's all about. Hopefully it's not just not explained, as I'm really sick of seeing nanotech everywhere in the MCU. It's supposed to be something special, but anyways, that is besides the point. One thing that I am not a huge fan of on this figure is taking this hand off and putting this one is probably one of the hardest switches in all of hand removing history in action figures. I don't exactly know why that is, but probably won't even be able to do it on okay, there we go. I was so scared I broke it there for a second, but this one is kind of hard to get in, and you're going to want to be careful with this one as there is no joint, so it is easier to snap off than that one, at least in my opinion. Just goes in like, come on, there you go. As you can see, that was painfully hard, but once it is on, it does look quite good. In the movie, or at least in the trailers, we do see this arm in a bunch of different other weapon styles, like a big blaster, and I believe we saw some other things, so I'm interested to see what else she does do with this arm, but the sword, as it stands, looks really good, and I'm excited to see what she does with it. Now, next up for accessories with this Nebula, here we have the big gun that she's included with. We have gotten this previously in the Marvel Legends line, but previously it did have a little bit of paint on it. This is just molded in the plastic that it is molded in, and that is all you get. And I don't really like this inclusion, especially because it is warped. I just don't think she'll use this in the movie, as she does have a, hand or arm rather that can really make anything. So why would she just go and grab a blaster? But who knows? I guess it's okay to get, but I think they could have included something a little bit better. Now, the other gun that we do have included, we have gotten previously with the Nebula, just her small kind of pistol. Do love the design of this. However, just like the big gun, you have absolutely no paint going on. And another thing I don't like about this small gun is it barely fits in the hand of the figure, in the sense that it just falls out really easily, as you can see. I don't know why that is the case. It isn't the case with the bigger gun. Maybe it's just because I had the bigger gun in her hand for a few days, so maybe it just stretched it out. But as you can see with this bigger gun, if I can get it in the hand, come on, just like so, there you can see it does fit a lot better. So I don't know why that is the case, and I can't even really like squish the fingers in to make it hold even more. That kind of is just how it's molded, so that is definitely weird. Now, with all the accessories out of the way, we can focus on the figure herself. Now, I do want to start off with the head sculpt. As usual, I believe this is the same one that we did get with the Nebula from Endgame, or rather just the Endgame female suit with the Nebula head. I could be wrong on that, and I think I am. Am I? Yes, I am. This is a different head sculpt. So this is the first time we are getting this head sculpt, and as far as that goes, I think the likeness on not only this one, but like I mentioned with the other figures that I've reviewed so far, the likeness and the photoreal on these Guardians 3 figures is honestly unmatched. I think it is some of the best we've seen in all of the Hasbro lines, and here it is no exception. The likeness to Karen Gillan is beyond captured, and I think it looks so very good. Other than that, though, you do have that metal part on the side of her head. On the top, you have another metal part. On this side, not a lot more detail. On the back, you have a little bit of that metal detail going to the back of her head. Just 3 lines, kind of looks like Wolverine claws. But other than that, not much more going on with that head sculpt. Now moving down to the rest of this figure, as I mentioned, she is using the same body that the Mantis is using. Obviously, though, here we have a brand new arm. Now for the arm, I really like the detail that we have going on here. You do have a little bit of marbleization up on the bicep here, but that could also just be my eyes. I really do think some black wash would do benefits on not only the suit, but especially the arm, because we've seen in the trailers that she does get like a little bit of oil or dirt or whatever. Her Mantis and Drax, we see them all together and they all are very dirty, so I do think some black wash would benefit this arm, this figure, and all the figures in general, in which I have mentioned that a lot of times. But other than that arm, we do have the torso and the rest of the figure being the same as the Mantis. I love the design. I think this brand new female body looks great. You do have the double jointed elbows on not only this side, but this side as well. For the hand on this figure, it is similar to Mantis, although different skin color, obviously, and this side, it doesn't just have the 2 fingers up. Moving down, you do have the same legs. It is exactly the same as the Mantis, as you can see. Right there is no color difference or anything. One thing, though, that I'm not a huge fan of with both of these figures is the Guardians logo right there on the center torso. I feel like the paint kind of like drowns the sculpt out. I see that there is a little bit of sculpt there, and on the box, it's very prominent that the logo is kind of sticking out. But here, it just looks like there's a little bit of sculpt, but it was just like drenched in paint, so all that sculpt is gone. But that also could just be my eyes. Other than that, though, there isn't a lot much more going on. You do have the black boots, and compared to the previous Nebula design, I thought they could use these legs with a older Nebula like this, but if you look at it, these boots are way higher than this one, and also just a different design in general. But still, I really do like this figure, and she probably is my favorite Nebula that we do have in the line. We only have 3, and that Endgame one definitely wasn't the best. And the other one, the first one from the Volume 2 wave, wasn't that bad, but I just think the head was out of proportion and she was very shiny. This one is definitely my favorite. Now, as for the articulation on this Nebula, it is just as good as the Mantis, if not better, as she doesn't have all that hair that the Mantis does, blocking the head from going back. Here, you get all the range that you would want for going back and forward as well. A little bit of tilt, full 360, arms go out this much, down, full 360. This side gets a little bit hindered, just like the Mantis did get hindered with this thing right there. Not on this side, though. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then the hand does go up, down, and full 360. I will do articulation on this arm as it is a different arm. Up, down, full 360, bicep swivel, double jointed, pinless elbows, and then the hand does go up, down, and full 360. Ab crunch goes forward that much, back, side, side. Overall, pretty good range there, and full 360, of course. Legs kick forward that much, back, not at all. Splits this much, upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot rotation, and then the ankles go up, down, and beautiful ankle rocking pivot. Here we have the Nebula along with all the other Guardians in the same costume design, along with the Groot and the Cosmo. I gotta say, even though a lot of people do have gripes with these figures that are somewhat understandable, you can't deny that they all look absolutely amazing together. Here we have Nebula next to Nebula, Nebula, and Nebula, more specifically, the Heist Nebula from What If, the Endgame Nebula from the 2-pack, as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Nebula. Now, if you were curious about head swaps, here we have the Volume 3 head sculpt on the Heist Nebula body, and I gotta say, even though this isn't necessarily accurate, I think this looks really good, and especially with all that range you get on that head sculpt, that's very interesting because you do have all this hair on this one, and you had that great movement, but it was all hindered by this hair. Here, when you put this head sculpt on, it does not get hindered, and as you can see, that range is absolutely amazing, and the head fits on there very well. Here we have the Volume 3 head sculpt on the Volume 2 Nebula body, and this does not work that well. Here we have the Volume 3 Nebula next to the Adam Warlock, as well as the Craiglin. Both are, of course, from the same wave. Here we have the Volume 3 Nebula next to the Volume 2 Gamora, as well as Mantis. And I gotta say, even though this is the costume from Volume 3, like I said, I think it looks really good even with the older figures. And lastly, for comparisons, here we have the Volume 3 Nebula next to the retro-carded Fantastic Four High Evolutionary figure, as well as a standard Bucky Cap body figure being Cyclops from the X-Men 5-pack. Now, as for my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Nebula figure, I think they did quite a good job with this, and she probably is one of my favorites from the wave for the reason that I think she works with a lot of different scenarios, because this costume is kind of a culmination of all of her costumes across her history in the MCU. Her first costume was this, and as you can see, it has a lot darker colors, but it still does have a fairly similar design to this, all things considered. And then, of course, she does have her Ravager outfit and the outfit that she does have in Endgame, and it kind of just combines it all together into one costume. Even though this does have the design that all the other figures do have in this wave, you get what I mean. And I think as far as that goes, I think they did a very good job with this. But for my rating of this figure with the price and account, I think I gotta give her like a 9 I'm going to give her a 9.5 out of 10. I think she is actually a really good figure. The only real downsides here is this gun, and I wish she maybe could have been included with a few extra accessories, but if anything, the other figures in this wave should be included with more accessories, not her, as none of the other figures really do have that many accessories, if any. But that is all that I have to say about that. As always, let me know what you think of this figure in the comments down below. Do you like her? Do you not? Are you going to get her? Are you not? As always, start a conversation, and I will try my best to respond. But until my next video, I have been Jagger Collector, she has been Nebula, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.